You're back with Cultures TV, and we're talking today with Kendall. She is speaking about LGBTQ issues, and I'm loving the conversation. So it feels very enlightened to me because, again, so many people don't talk about it, and they don't know how to start the conversation. You don't want to be embarrassed. You don't want to accidentally
issues and these sexual issues on a large scale.
and on a global scale.
And on a global scale, because here in America we tend to think of our little tiny bubble and all these things, but there's LGBT issues and events going on around the world. And one of the biggest things for LGBTQ individuals is finding a community. And that's basically just anyone that can support you and make you feel safe, and someone that you share interests with. And the great thing about Cultures is that you're also focusing on fostering the same idea of finding a community and trying to reach as many people as you can and bring them into the conversation, which is great and something that I think this community of LGBTQ+ would really benefit from. So had a good experience.
Tell me about the plus. See, I've never actually heard that. You've indoctrinated me.
I try and put the plus at the end of the acronym all the time because I don't want to leave anyone out. I want to be inclusive. But the longest form I've heard is LGBTQQIA, and that basically stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, and asexual. Some people will kind of question and say that the A stands for ally, which in some cases it does, but that's why I use the plus. So nice. I have everyone in there.
Nice.
Yeah.
So where do your stories span the globe. You've talked about stories in Asia with this community, and some are triumphant stories, and some are challenging stories or challenges that people face in their separate countries. Yeah. So being that you're in the United States, how do you get a hold of some of these?
I follow a lot of LGBT blogs and a lot of news networks that cater towards this audience. So I'm really connected to worldwide news for this community. So I just kind of take in different sources and I do a little more research, especially if they're topics that are concerned on specific events or specific individuals. So it's a collaboration process. Mm-hmm. But it's awesome to me to know that the resources are out there, because when I was 15 and I was learning how to self-identify, I didn't have access to all these resources. So that's why magazines like Cultures that brings us into the conversation, or even BuzzFeed LGBT are so influential and important to today's youth, because it allows the conversation to be ongoing, and it kind of alleviates internal strife. If you don't know how to identify, here's a place where you can kind of figure out who you are and find a safe net to.
Well, we're flashing some of your stories across the screen so people can access those later as well. But what would be your goal? If you had one final message as we wrap up of how people can be more open-minded and how they can contribute, what would it be?
Man, I guess my goal has always been to provide a voice for the voiceless, because I'm a pretty unfiltered person, and I've never personally felt any shame or dejection from how I identify, and I've been very lucky in that. There's a lot of privilege in that. But I guess the one thing I would say is, if you are having trouble identifying and finding that support group, I would look for as many resources as you can and like find the sources that you can like physically and tangibly be with to find that support, because that's who will pull you through, and that's the people who will make you feel engaged and worthy and valued. And that's all we need.
And for the people who want to support but they don't know how,
yeah, what
would you suggest for them?
Just reach out, you know, make these issues and make this part of your conversation. You know, in the space I'm at in college, you know, we talk a lot about being at the table, which basically means that whatever is important to you and whatever you're passionate about, bring it to the table and be part of the discussion. You know, even if you're worried and your voice shakes when you talk, bring it to the table.
Great.
That's all you gotta do.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Kendall. It was great having you here. And thanks for joining us here at Cultures TV. Remember, at Cultures, we speak your language.